Hello, hello, hello. Good to see you. You get fairy dust. I get fairy dust. A little friend gets fairy dust. And it's time for a question for Ask an Advanced Bitch. Okay. The question is, am I wasting my potential? Yeah. That's not a thing. That's not a thing. That is not a thing. But you know what it's code for? Trauma. It is code. Be, let me tell you my experience. I was so broken, so lost, so addicted, so consumed by my freeze trauma response and dissociation, social anxiety, the whole nine, like just brutal, 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 brutal. Yet inside, I thought, maybe. I thought I could do all these things. Like, what if I could do all these things? Like, maybe I could be an actress. Maybe I could be a singer. I mean, I can't sing. I mean, I can a little, but like, maybe I could. What if I'd have these like childhood dreams, And and then I learned that I was smart. That wasn't until high school is I started to get the inklings that I was actually smart. And what could I do with that? What could I do with all that? And then circumstances, aka trauma, um, had to work full time right out of high school and got into a community college, took some classes. Then we moved, and then I got into another community. If you could see my every time I've applied to a college, it's so embarrassing. There's like 4 community colleges. And and it's like, oh, all these people, they could just go to college and be done with it. And they don't have to work and they don't have to do all this stuff, but they could just go. And I wish I know I could do that. Like I could do that, but my life circumstances. And then I enrolled in in a real university, and then I would take like 1 or 2 classes at night. But I had a full-time job, and that just kept going and if you looked at it, it would look like I was wasting my potential. Um, but I never stopped. I never gave up. It's I guess I'm healing this right now. It's one thing to like be ashamed of like my list of schools that I've been to. But another way of looking at that is like, bitch, you never gave up. Like you wanted it so bad. But what was getting in the way? What was getting in the way? Drama, chaos, codependency, addiction, um, terrible relationships, abusive relationships. How could I access my potential when I was so like burned and broken on the inside? And then on the outside, because of all that childhood trauma and then the trauma that I recreated, AKA repetition compulsion, AKA process addictions, go to this school. Okay, you got to go to this school. You got to go to this school, like repeating, repeating. And it makes it harder instead of just going to one school, whatever, you get it. I I didn't have a chance, but I never gave up. I never gave up. And so would you say that someone who got in a car accident and broke a bone or two, and they had to be in let's say it's more serious, so they had to be in a hospital for an extended period of time, would you say that person's wasting their potential? No, you would say that person has to heal. that person has to heal. And then when they're done with that, they can continue to follow the threads of their dreams and of their quote unquote potential. Um, you know, if you think about it, like toxic relationships or abusive relationships or troubled relationships, whatever you want to call them, you know, it's like trying to perform on a stage and then someone in the audience is throwing balls at you. And we say like, oh, I should like be more agile so I can like move away from these balls or this food they're throwing at me or these darts they're aiming toward me. I should, you know, it's like, no, they should stop throwing that shit. And so it's like, can I do my dance? Can I sing my song while all this shit is being directed my way? No, you can't. And so I had to figure out how to clear the audience of toxic people. I had to get some bouncers. I had to get an bouncers and then inner bouncers to get these dumbasses out of my life. And then I had to heal within. And that is the work. That is what advanced personal growth work is all about. It's like we heal our trauma, we heal our addictions, we heal our relationships, and the potential is just us. It's just us. Also, another way, because the way I look at healing is all it is becoming more us. We are becoming ourselves, who we actually are. So I'm becoming more Elizabeth. 10 years ago, I was less Elizabeth than I am now. I am so much more Elizabeth than I was 3 months ago. I'm more her because I'm more living from that place. And so while I am still alive, I am not wasting my potential because I don't, and I also don't need to worry about wasted potential because I can focus on healing. What isn't working? Where am I unhappy? What do I like doing? What do I not like doing? What are my dreams? Who are the people in my life? How do I communicate better? How can I work on my attachments? It doesn't matter which area in your life you want to heal. It doesn't matter because once you heal in that one area, then all the areas get a little bit better and a little bit easier to solve. And so the wounded, you know, the wounded girl in me, um, you know, when I was the Elizabeth of a 10-year-old Elizabeth, would you say that she was wasting her potential? No, she just had a lot of shit going down inside and out. Me at 20, was I wasting my potential? AKA, was I wasting my Elizabeth? No, because in the midst of all the stuff that I was choosing that wasn't necessarily the best for me, or my repetition compulsions, you know, it's like, oh, let me get in a new relationship in which I'll be codependent. You know, all of those distractions, it's not wasting potential. It is continuing to heal, never giving up. Don't stop. Keep going, never stop. Like keep going, never stop, because it will surprise you. And so for me now, I mean, I've even thought about this in business. It's just like, oh, you know, all these other people are so successful in this or whatever. And it's like, oh, you've wasted it. You know, it's like, no, there is no way. That is not a thing because I'm exactly where I am supposed to be. I remember when the whole Johnny football happened and there's a oh, I forget the name of the show, but it's a documentary on Netflix. The little sports documentaries. Um, and there's one on Johnny football. And so I live in Texas. And so when he kind of fell from grace, that was a big topic at this meeting I was going to. And they were like, God, he had it all. He had it all, but he's just wasted his potential. And it's just like what I knew sitting there, keeping my little mouth shut is like, that's not a thing. He had, he has trauma. and he got to a certain point and the trauma took over or whatever. I mean, I don't, I'm just from what was saying, I don't want to like put that on him. I'm not saying that he said that he has trauma. I'm just saying like whatever he was doing and the choices that he made, like it, without healing, it can only take us so far. And so, you know, to me, saying somebody is wasting their potential when they have trauma is also saying like somebody who doesn't have an arm has wasted their potential. They don't have an arm. Like, they have wasted their potential in archery or whatever. And obviously we know there's people that that don't have limbs and still can do archery. So that's not even stopping us. But you wouldn't say that for a physical wound. And I don't know about you, but my physical scars are a lot less painful than my spiritual, emotional, and mental ones. Those have cost me. And it is sad. It is something to grieve over, and it was heartbreaking at the time because I could feel that feeling of wasted potential. I could feel it. And there was something all along that kept me going and kept me healing. And all of that has brought me where I am today. And all of that has brought you where you are today. So I would say if you're asking the question about your potential, what you're experiencing is the access to your authentic self, because your authentic self wants to express something. Something wants to be expressed or achieved or experienced. And it's letting you know by this feeling of lost potential that, hey, knock, knock, knock. Can we heal something? Can we do something a little bit differently? Is there a thread for us to follow? Because it will break your heart if you die and you didn't allow yourself to get to experience who you really are. And so that's what comes up for me when I think of wasted potential. It's not a thing. It's not a thing as far as something that is lost or broken. It is a thing as far as like a little knock, a little symbol, a little sign, a little symptom that's saying, hey, there's something for you to do. There's a calling that you're not hearing. And it's time to follow the thread. It's time to answer the call. It's time to get on the hero's journey. And you just follow that thread wherever it takes you. So I hope that was helpful. Love you. Bye.